Somehow this time I got it.
Very liberal with the Vaseline in all my sensitive areas.
I see.
No, feet, nipples, undercarriage, Vaseline.
And that's on the days you're not running.
Very good.
Boom, we're live.
And the bass keeps running. All
right. So
when I bust the rams, you break your neck. The words I know.
We're going to be chatting about a historic day in the life of Salvatore Benintende yesterday.
Dun.
Yesterday, he ran his
went down.
Marathon runner. Of course, no official races here in Italy, but it was all legit. He's got the statistics on his watch. So 42.2 kilometers were run on his two legs yesterday, Saturday, the 1st of May, 2021. So
barely on two legs.
To ask the man himself how it was and how he felt about it, what he learned, etc., etc. So, Sal, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm in excruciating pain, thanks to you, James, and James to you, Dan. Thank you very much.
Are you really?
No, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm a bit sore, let's say. And yeah, what can I say? I mean, there's so many things to talk about. First of all, the serendipity and how events connect together, and how one original event leads to another. So basically, the whole thing started, I think, with a few years ago, me meeting James during a jiu-jitsu lesson and chatting. And so the result was that you two guys ended up on my podcast. Another podcast I did
April 2019, because that was the day before Ben ran the Rome Marathon.
Right.
I remember it well. Oh, April 6th to be precise, because I remember it was my birthday on the day of the marathon.
Yeah.
Sweet. Did you both run it, or did?
No. I was just cheerleading that day. It's just
okay. All right. So yeah, and that conversation was quite interesting for me, and I've been running a bit here and there over my whole life, basically. Also when I lived in Germany, and running here and there a bit, but I never considered doing a whole marathon. And by the way, respect that the night after your marathon, after you ran the marathon, then we went, drinking, if you remember, and dancing. And I have a lot of respect for you now. I don't even know how you managed to even stand straight or move or whatever. So, well done.
Is it? I don't know. That day, I don't know if it was more impressive, the marathon in the morning or the rendition of Purple Rain in the evening.
I think it was both.
On the stage, it was just an amazing day. So, Sal,
there's probably some video footage of that too. Of both.
You say that it's our fault. So, do you think that if we, of course, we've talked about determinism before and free will, but do you think that without that conversation on your podcast 2 years ago, because we did spend quite a lot of time on marathon running, do you think that without that you wouldn't have gone down this road and pursued your own marathon?
I don't know. I think eventually I would have done it, because it's always been on my list, on my to-do list, running a marathon. I think it was just one of those events that kind of is a trigger, a kick in the butt, something that, how you call it, a booster or something like that, So I really needed that to start exploring running a bit more in depth. And at the time, I was very busy with my band. We were traveling all around the world, like all around Europe, and so there was a lot of stuff going on. So I never really took the time to do proper running. Indeed, the first step was that I participated in a half marathon with you, James. Mm-hmm. And that was the worst preparation you could imagine. I mean, I did every mistake in the book of running such an event, starting from no properly organized lead up to the event. I was training organically, but I have a feeling that my organic preparation is different than Dan's organic preparation that we also talked about in the past, meaning that I just ran, a little bit here and there, and that was my preparation. Like, I thought if I can, run for 20 minutes, that's kind of preparation if I do that every day during the week or something like that. With the result that I came back on the night after I played at an event in Tuscany somewhere with my band, played late night, drove right back after the event at 3 a.m. or something like that. I probably had a bit of alcohol in my system too. I had barely got any sleep, and then I ran the half marathon. And the result was excruciating pain afterwards, literally. Like, I had a headache, my system was dehydrated, I was pumping myself through with Joe Rogan in my headphones, and it was just basically pure force of willpower that got me through, but not preparation, definitely.
Yeah, because that was September 2019, because that was the Via Patis run. I remember that we did that. Yeah, I remember, because we met in the morning, obviously, to get the metro there, and I said, "How's it going, Tom?"
And on the metro, we got busted by the police, by the controllers, right?
No, that was different. That was a different race. That was the trail race in January.
Oh, I'm confusing things right now.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So many memories.
So,
God.
How did you prepare different for this one, or did you not prepare?
So yeah, for this one I prepared. I prepared.
Sal, could you go into a little bit, because what I really enjoyed about the way that you prepared for this one is that you tried and failed a couple of times, right? In autumn, if I'm correct. Did you attempt a couple of 42s and you just sort of had to get the metro home, something like that?
Yeah, so I attempted before I started getting at it more systematically. I kind of, thought the idea is you just run a bit, and then you run a bit more, and then you extend it, and then eventually you can run the whole distance. And that's how I trained it. But I didn't really think about, hydration, maybe bring some water with you. I didn't think about giving my body time to recover. So, I thought it's an overrated concept. And me almost at the age of 40, what can possibly go wrong? Integrate, using maybe integrators, proper food, and all these things. I mean, I was eating healthy, so I thought, that's fine. I got the willpower, let's just do it. And so, during my training, at some point I hit, different walls. Either I messed up my legs so badly that I literally couldn't walk, and what you alluded to was a situation where I was running in a park here in Rome, and at some point, my legs just stopped working. I just couldn't walk anymore, and I barely dragged myself back home somehow,
Hit the wall.
I hit the wall, yeah. The wall was hit quite early, I believe.
But so I like that idea, Sal, because what you're saying is you can't just grunt your way through a marathon.
I thought I could. That was kind of, I tend to be overconfident in certain situations, and so I thought, I'm just gonna Dave Goggins myself through this whole thing, If I listen enough Dave Goggins podcasts, I'm sure I'm gonna somehow. That's half the work, but that's not how it works.
Just quickly, Sal. So you're training back then. You say you were adding a bit more on. Did you literally say you started on New Year's Day, you ran 5 miles, and then 2 days later you ran 6 miles, and then 2 days later 7 miles?
No,
you see, it was, or were you trying to?
That would be a systematic approach. There was no system in my approach at all. I just ran how I felt.
Was it? Is there really no example of a sort of 2-week thing that you ran for 20 minutes 3 times for 2 weeks or something like that?
Well, look,
when you were doing it the wrong way, what was your?
Yeah. Well, look.
How would a typical week look? Or was it just no typical week?
Okay. A typical week. Let me think. It would be that during the week I would just run as much as I could in a park nearby. And that would not be much because the park is small, so I would maybe run for half an hour to 45 minutes. So I never really increased the level there. What I did on weekends, I discovered that you can nicely run around the old Aurelian Roman wall, and that is like kind of a half marathon almost. It's I think it's half marathon.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And so I attempted to cross it, and I failed a few times, but then eventually I managed to run around, and then basically every weekend I was running around, but there was also no increase then anymore, so that was the max. And then at some point I decided, okay, let me try if I now am ready to run a marathon, and it was a bad idea. And so that was kind of the one example of failure that I
so it was like a rough system, yeah, because that's almost what we that's almost my I kind of do like a 2 5-milers and a 9 mile in a week, and then at the weekend I up it, but then I kind of bolt on 2 miles every week type of thing. So that was not far off what you were doing. You had this half-hour route around the part that you kept busy in the week, and then you'd have a longer one at the weekend. But like you say, if you'd have just kept going around that wall and then adding a couple of streets on each time, that would have almost been the same type of approach,
Probably, yeah. I mean, definitely.
The thing is, you got to think: are you increasing one of two things? You got to be increasing either volume or intensity, or both, right? So if you're doing the same, let's just say the Aurelian Wall, you're doing that every weekend. Well, that's fine. If you were increasing the speed, you know,
right.
And of course, to get up to the marathon, I mean, as you realised recently, you need to be doing those long runs as well because you need to adapt those systems. But yeah, if it's not volume, it's got to be intensity. Otherwise, you're just going to stay and you're going to plateau a lot of the time.
And this, I think, what happened, exactly what happened with me always in the past when I attempted any feat like that. And so I then took a few steps back and said, okay, let's assume I'm a total noob, and I am. And so maybe let's just start from completely zero. And so I found this book called The Non-Runner's Marathon Guide or something like that, that basically teaches anyone from any age group, really any age group, to be able to just complete the marathon. And that was my first and official goal. I wanted to run one marathon in its entirety and finish it. My second secret goal, and in a book they say you should never actually do that, and I still did it, is give yourself also a time goal. Because if you fail the time goal, you still feel like shit when you get to finish the marathon, and that completely takes away the purpose of finishing it actually. And so you did something incredible, and you achieve, and your whole achievement then feels like a failure. And so I kind of was secretly keeping myself. I wanted to run a sub 4 hour marathon, sub 4 hour marathon. And yeah, as luckily somehow I managed to do that yesterday.
No luck.
But yeah, this book is very good. I mean, it's totally boring for you guys. You know, you're already pros. And what's your? You basically did some sub 3 hour marathons because that's what you need to participate in the New York Marathon, which you both did, right?
Then give him numbers.
Give me some numbers.
PB. What personal best?
Give him some digits.
It's been a while because I couldn't. It's been about 5 years since my PB.
I've been
days. Progressively slower since then. Yeah, I did a 2:43 in
2:43. Wow.
Sevilla. Yeah, wow. Man, that was. And I thought it was just going to get quicker for them, but it never has. I lost my
anyway.
I lost my eye of the tiger.
Me myself, I have a 2:52.
Wow. Okay. Ooh. Incredible.
But we're not pros. We're not pros.
Sub 4 is brilliant. That's in the upper. I think if you look on the averages, sub 4 is on the upper part of that.
It's a really good benchmark, sub 4, especially for a first time. But I don't agree with that book. So I think even if you're doing your first one, you should have some sort of objective, because how can you pace your training otherwise? You know, you need to have that goal to drag you towards it.
I guess the book is trying to be as general as possible, and also if you're like a 60-year-old, grandmother who just starts running for the first time in your life, I think it kind of really captures also all these people, and so they try not to create unrealistic goals for certain groups.
For the grandma, the goal might be 6 hours. It doesn't mean that it's. It doesn't mean that it's an incorrect goal.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's incorrect to have a goal. It just means that you have to be realistic to what you're capable of. And you did yesterday 3:57, right?
3:57. I admit in the last 5 kilometers I had excruciating pain on my knees, so I had to kind of walk a little bit for 3 kilometers. I was looking also for water at the moment, and I was kind of already at the verge of saying, okay, screw the sub 4. I just want water now, and I want drink and rest from here on, and just walk back home. And then I looked at the watch and I started calculating in my head if I could still do it if I started running again. And somehow I started running again after 1K, and my knees hurt even more than before. So I really literally couldn't run. And strange enough, after walking 2 more kilometers, speed walking, I tried to run again, and I could run again for some reason. I don't know how that's explainable. So I guess it's not like mechanical a mechanical problem of the knees or something, I don't know. But yeah, I managed to buy through and get home.
You followed the program from this book then that sort of built you up slowly, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean the book starts at really at 0, so it's for somebody who never ran before, and I skipped that part because basically they also tell you to walk first for a few kilometers and then
put one foot in front of the other.
Exactly, yeah. Get out of the bed. But yeah, and then every week, so it's there's a 4-day per week program, and I think it goes for a 16-week program in total. And so basically, the first 3 times during the week are kind of short runs. The first one is short, the mid one is a bit longer, then another short one, and then on the last one is a long one. And so that's how it's built up. And so every week it increases, I think around 10% or something like that, or maybe less, I don't know. But it increases. But there's never any time goals that it is asking.
So it's all distance goals.
Exactly. So it's literally just made for managing you to get you through, and throughout the book also then it explains different concepts as warm up, stretching. That's one important thing I never did in the past too, which I started to incorporate, doing more yoga also. That's specifically done for running. The yoga is not in the book, but the stretching exercises, and then I found as a result some yoga exercises. Hydration, I mean, James, it was a mantra with you that you told me that I should maybe try drinking some water. I remember a few years ago when you asked me, so how long you run now? And that long, do you drink water? And I responded no, and you were like, maybe you should try have some water, maybe.
Now, you're not the only one. There was this really top pro who ran I think if I remember correctly, he ran a half marathon time in about 1 hour, 1 minute. And he went to these sports scientists, because he's a guy from Kenya. He didn't have much sort of scientific expertise in his camp at that time. And he went to these research scientists and he sort of said, well, how can I improve? And so they went through his process and they realized that he wasn't drinking any water during this half marathon. It's like, well, there's 10 to 20% there. So good luck. So yeah.
Did he improve off the back of that?
Yeah, he improved a little bit, yeah. Of course, when you get to that level of competition, then
seconds
1 minute difference. I mean, he's not a world
seconds is massive, isn't it? You knock 20 seconds off at that level.
He was one of these guys in the original Breaking 2 challenge, one of the 3 athletes, Kipchoge and 2 others. He was one of those. That's how I realized.
But I guess he also has a very specific genetic makeup then, as compared to the rest of humanity. I mean,
right.
I wouldn't say that's a no-brainer over a half marathon either, to be honest, the stopping for a water, because it's half marathon. Yeah, I think I do have a sip on a half marathon, but I could definitely get through it fine without it. But yeah, like you say, I was curious to know whether it did improve them or not. But it's also the time stopped, like you say, when you're at that level, the time stopped to, I suppose they passed in the water, but still it slows you, ruins your flow, doesn't it?
Right, and we could go on about this for hours, but there's all these tiny 1% details, right? It's like Dave Brailsford, the head coach of Team Sky, now Team Ineos, the cycling teams. His mantra is, well, look at all these 1% gains that you can make. And on their own, they're insignificant, but you add them up, and exponentially, they make a huge difference. So one of those things could be water intake, could be your 1%. One of them could be how much you sleep the night before, 1%. Keep going with that. So yeah, there's tons of stuff. What else?
Well, look, I mean, this book really helped me, and also your input, because you had much more experience. And so I think one thing that really helped me was to create a routine that kind of made the whole thing predictable. So, for example, every 20 minutes, I would always run with a water bottle. So every 20 minutes, and also thanks to you, you helped me refill the water yesterday during the run. There was a technical assistance that was very useful. Every 20 minutes, I drink water. So I have kind of a reference point there. Every 45 to 60 minutes, I take a liquid gel while I run. I always wear the same clothes that I use. I rebought the same shoes that I already used before, running shoes, about a few weeks before doing the marathon. So I already ran them in, let's say. And so, yeah, all these things made it more predictable. So many things can go wrong too, and I just want to give you a few highlights. One thing that was very unpredictable and unexpected, or I just forgot about it, I have hay fever.
Yeah, I remember yesterday.
And I think it's the first time probably now that I think the pollen season just started now this week or something. And yeah, so I was completely unprepared. I didn't take any antihistamines, anything. And so, 80% throughout the run, I started noticing it, and it really got bad on the way back, I must say. So that was something I had to fight through. Then one thing I never had before,
No.
a I wasn't bleeding, but I always read about the sore nipples. That's a thing, and I always on my long runs that I did in training, I never had the problem. I was like,
did I not tell you this, Sal? The Vaseline.
No. You told me about it. I remembered it also in the moment when it started hurting, and I was like, but during my training runs, the long ones, I never had the problem, and I was wearing the same shirt. I'm not sure what changed, but yeah, somehow this time I got it.
Very liberal with the Vaseline in all my sensitive areas.
I see.
No, feet, nipples, undercarriage, Vaseline.
And that's on the days you're not running.
Very good.
How are your feet, Sal?
The feet the right foot is fine. The left one hurts a bit. The left knee is pretty much in pain. But I can walk. I mean, I walked yesterday to this venue where I played a little mini concert, so I could do that. But it's definitely sore, so I cannot just. I think I will take a slow walk later after this.
Yeah, it will help.
But no blisters,
loosen up the muscles.
Stuff like that.
No. Well, actually, also I have 2 toes that are not very. That have the nails kind of. Wanting to escape, I think. But that's also.
That if they fall off, you can put them in a frame and put it on your wall.
Yeah, no, thank you. That sounds kind of gross. I don't know, but I think that's more connected to a hike I did last week, and I made the same mistake also. I think other times that I did a hike shortly before a race, and I think I should stop doing that because all the weight and all these things, these are also unpredictable factors. I think that increase the chance of injury. So that's another lesson learned. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, that was my short experience. There's many things to talk about, but I think we already exceeded our own time.
The last question then, Sal, is that one and done, or will you be repeating?
Oh no, I'm gonna now look for the September one in Rome to have at least one official one in, and the next goal will be, well, first of all, to confirm the results of this marathon that I just did privately. But yeah, improve. Who knows? Maybe go sub 3:30, and maybe eventually we'll see if I'm capable to work my way up or not. But that's the idea.
Sal, can I ask, upon reflection, do you feel like you could have done it a bit quicker? Do you feel like you could have been quicker?
Yes.
You do.
And I think if I would
maybe if you'd put the gas on a bit earlier or something like that, then it would have. Obviously, maybe you're playing it safe because it's your first time trying to do the whole distance. Right. But maybe do you think next time you wouldn't play it so safe and try and chop a few minutes off? Well,
look, one thing I definitely would do is start slower. James told me twice while we met, slow down a bit. You know,
I was with Sal then between kilometer 12 and kilometer 29, more or less.
So and you asked me my average time.
How's your time? And he goes, I'm at 4:45. Was that all right for you? And you go, no, too quick. But I'm feeling good. So you're wait. In the 30s, if you're still feeling good, then you can push it.
And the weird thing is, I read about it. I knew about it. James told me twice about it, and I still did it because it didn't feel like I was going fast. I felt like I was going, as I call it, cruise speed. But then James told me cruise speed in England means something else.
No, because you said, so I feel like I'm cruising, and I said, well, I'm cruising something else in a public park.
Right. So yeah, I probably could have.
I've never learned that skill, Sal.
Okay, so you're also doing the same thing.
Then your efforts are heroic, mate. Just go out hard and then hold on for dear life.
I've got some half marathon PBs during marathons. I really have.
It's animalistic. So if you ever see Den at the end of a marathon, it's mad.
But yeah, I guess it's a normal tendency. I guess if you just feel good and you're not feeling like you're really trying. In the beginning, I didn't feel like I was trying at all. I was like, hey, this is easy. But yeah, so I guess I could have taken it slower there, so I would have been able to also not stop for the 2 or 3 kilometers towards the end. And so definitely, I think they would have brought down the results for a few minutes. The water thing, I mean, doing it privately, of course, you have to hold weight. I think during a normal marathon, that will also probably mean a minute or two of a difference, I could imagine, if you're not holding constantly a water bottle in your hand. There are different points where I also doing more cross training through my next workout, and especially doing speed training this time, like uphill, and I already talked about it with James. I think because there was none of that now for this time. I just don't want to injure myself. I just wanted to be able to make it. But next time I'll try to work a bit on a pace.
I love the marathon, and I don't think you ever truly finish the adventure, because you can only really do 2 a year hard, and even that's pushing it sometimes. And so each time it's like having a massive cake with 100 ingredients, and each time you're trying to tweak the recipe a little bit, and you think, all right, well, what if I do a bit of this, like what if I do a bit of pre-season with heavy sort of deadlifts and weight training? What happens then? What if I try this? What if I try this? And you're tweaking a little something, but you only get to find out once or twice a year. And then there are factors on the day which mean that no 2 marathons are the same, even if the route's the same. Even if, the distance will be the same, but even if you use the same city marathon, the weather will be different. You'll be different because you're a different person and you've had different sleep, you've had a different week. So it never ends. You never get bored, and that's why I keep coming back for more to see if
Jamesy, how many marathons do you run?
On road marathons, I think I'm on 10. 9 or 10. I've got the list somewhere. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, 10.
We've done pretty much the same ones, and then we've done a few, without the other.
Paris I did, and you didn't.
Yeah, and then I've done Brighton, and you didn't. I did Florence, and you. Yeah.
I have done Brighton, but that was a
different year, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, it'll be cool maybe one day if we could all run one together.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely.
That'd be beautiful.
That'd be very nice. All right, well, that was a nice.
Well, enjoy
closing.
the rest, man. Enjoy the buzz.
Thanks. So thanks to you guys. So thanks again for
congratulations
getting me back on the road. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this little conversation. I hope somebody else got inspired too to try, give it a try.
If Sal can do it, I can.
Exactly. The sad thing is he's right. All right. Bye everybody. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers.